In this movie, we will see three separate storylines. One is better than the next. All three stories are related to students and universities. That's why the name of this film is also Haunted University Second Semester. The name of the first story is The Final Year's Cheers. At the beginning of it, we see a university where students came to celebrate the last day of their final year. Now their university was no less than a haunted place because every year on the day of the final year, some or other student dies, and everyone knows this. The fact is that there is a ghost in this university, which was seen on the day of the final year, and the student who sees that ghost used to die. Now, here we see a girl, Tai, who had the ability that if there was a ghost somewhere, she could see it. Tai also had a childhood friend. Both were very close to each other. That girl was good and innocent. That's why Tai used to take care of her a lot. Now, when this friend was passing through a place, Tai's friend felt strange. She stopped near a door. On the other side of the window, she sees the shadow of the ghost. Now, before her eyes look that way, Tai keeps a paper in front of her eyes so that she does not see the ghost, because if her friend sees the ghost, then the ghost will kill her. Now all the students were gathered in the hall, because on the day of the final year, some students were going to sing something and make the atmosphere good. Some students were singing the national anthem here as usual, but Tai's friend, who was behaving strangely, starts singing a strange song. Actually, not only today but for a long time Tai's friend was seeing ghosts, and maybe today one of them had controlled her, which she was doing like this. Apart from this, she was also scared, and obviously, seeing her like this, other students get scared. Seeing this, Tai came to her. She picked her up from the hall and brought her out with her and tells her to be quiet and try to control yourself. "What were you doing?" Her friend replies, "I do not know what is happening to me. This has been going on for a long time and I am very tired because of all this, and I want to go home." Tai's friend's strange actions affected all the students inside, and they start talking about her. Everyone was saying that she is behaving like this because she saw that ghost, and today it will end her. Tai feels bad to hear this and wants to prove everyone wrong, so she brings her friend to the gathering while making her understand. One of the students asks Tai's friend, "What happened to you? Why are you behaving like this?" Hearing this, she starts telling the truth and says, "Strange things happening to me for a long time. I can see ghosts. I want to go home." And saying this, she starts weeping. Tai makes her quiet, but she gets scared because she saw another boy's ghost in front of her. He was looking terrible and was saying something to her friend in anger. His eyes were strange and the color of his face also changes. Seeing this, she gets so scared that she weeps while screaming loudly and continuously insists on going home. One of the students says, "We don't believe you whether you are telling the truth or lying, but if any other student sees the ghost except for you, we will understand that you are telling the truth. Only then you will be allowed to go home." But because no other student could see the ghost, so they call Tai's friend a liar. Seeing this, her friend sees Tai and says, "My friend can see ghosts." But she was surprised when Tai says, "No, there is nothing like this. I can't see ghosts." Her friend's heart breaks to hear this, but then suddenly, a singing voice is heard. She thought maybe someone among the students is singing, but she was wrong because all the students were watching her silently. When she noticed, she finds out that the voice was coming from upstairs. As she sees upside, there were many ghosts who were looking terrible because they were hanging upside down. Seeing them, Tai's friend gets so scared that vomits on a girl, but everyone laughs at her acts and they start making fun of her. But seeing herself being insulted, she feels bad and runs from there. Tai was worried about her friend and didn't want to leave her alone, so she moved to find her. But as she reaches a room, she sees a girl's ghost which looked terrible with open hair and head soaked in blood. As we know, Tai can see ghosts, but she moves ahead to look for her friend while ignoring this. After searching for her a lot, Tai moves upstairs and finds her friend sitting on the wall. Tai feels bad seeing her friend in this condition, so she moves forward to handle her, but because her friend was angry with her, so she forbids her to come closer and says, "What kind of friend are you? You even can see ghosts, then why you didn't support me? Why did you leave me alone and prove me wrong in front of everyone?" Hearing this, Tai says while weeping, "I didn't support you because none believed in you. So they don't believe me either. They will made fun of me too." But her friend also feels bad that she is just concerned about her insult. She was sad and says, "Okay, my friend Tai, take care of yourself. I am leaving, but I promise we will meet soon because I want to live with you forever." Saying this, she jumps and ends herself. Seeing this, Tai keeps weeping. What happened in a snap? She becomes sad to see the condition of her friend's dead body. She was broken after losing her childhood friend and regretting why she didn't support her. "She wouldn't taken this step if I hadn't done this. My small mistake compelled her to take her life." We see when Tai was weeping, her friend again comes to her, but seeing her, we can understand that is her soul. After it, the time passes speedily and Tai completes her graduation, but we see that she keeps herself happy always because her friend was always with her. and they do all the things together. Here concludes the first story. The second story is named The Seabed. As the movie starts, we see a medical student, Tan. He lives in a room of his university in the hospital with his roommate. He was new in the university and watching the news here. His eyes fell on a piece of news that seemed important to him. He hears that a student of this university died before his graduation. He died on his bed, but the scary thing was that he now turned a ghost and comes every year to sleep on his bed. Tan gets scared hearing this. The number of that student's bed was C, and Tan's bed number is also C. Later, he meets his friend, and they like each other, so they spend quality time. The next day, Tan goes to the university, and now because he becomes a member here and will get doctor training first, they take an oath from all the students in which they promise to take care of their patients after becoming a doctor until they are in this profession. Tan returns in his room and sees his roommate is leaving for his home due to it. Tan panics because tonight he has to sleep alone in his room. Tan has an illness that causes fits once in a while, and he feels that maybe he will not become a good doctor. He was in his room and gets a fits. He tries to handle himself and it takes him a while to become normal. Meanwhile, the door knocked, and when Tan checked, there was his friend who came to spend time with him. They talk a lot and also study together because his friend helps him in studying. Even today, she was instructing him, but he wasn't paying attention and was lost in his thoughts, and when his friend asks him, he becomes furious at her and says many things to her. His friend feels bad to hear this, and she says while weeping, "Tan, what happened to you? Why are you behaving with me like this?" Seeing her crying, Tan realizes his mistake. He makes her quiet and apologizes to her. He says let's sleep because it is too late. At night, when they were sleeping, the lights in Tan's room start blinking due to it. Tan wakes up and doesn't find her friend there. He starts looking for her everywhere. He goes to the ground floor, but she wasn't there. Tan sees the fridge door open when he returned, and the bottle is lying in front and moving itself. Seeing this, Tan panics but then thinks it may be done by my friend, but when he moves near the fridge, he realizes there is someone else, not his friend. This panics him and feels strange when he comes to the room. He starts packing his luggage. He sees under the bed, and there was a badge. He finds out when he checks that it was the student's badge who died here with it. He understands that the student's soul is doing all this. He was leaving with his luggage. Meanwhile, he again gets fits. His body was shaking and turning weirdly, which causes him pain that is out of control. That's why he falls there unconsciously. He finds himself on his bed when he comes to his senses. The ghost of the student also arrives, who looked terrible. His body was weird and arms were also turned and broken. He couldn't even walk properly. His face was scary and looking ugly. The student's soul takes his badge as he likes it, but he sees the badge is spoiled, which is done by Tan while running, and this makes the student's soul furious. He attacks Tan due to it. He falls down and the soul again moves towards him to end him. Here, we see that Tan's body is completely paralyzed and he can't move his body, but he somehow calls his friend because he has a mobile. His friend doesn't pick up the call. The soul was moving forward, so Tan also crawls ahead, but the soul has come closer to him. Even then, Tan reaches the exit way while moving far from the soul. As he reaches the stairs, the soul comes and holds his neck and tries to end him. Tan was clearly seeing his death, and he remembers the oath he took in his last moments. He thought the students who had come here had also taken an oath not to end anyone. Tan gets an idea that he will make him remember this and will escape from him. He says to the soul, "You took an oath to not end anyone, so leave me," because Tan believed that he must have taken this oath here. His plan works in real and the soul leaves his neck the next moment. Getting a chance from it, Tan comes out while crawling and calls his friend first and says, "Today I want to tell you what's in my heart. I love you so much," and also apologizes to you for my behavior. The ghost was also hearing all this and realizes that he is doing wrong and should be loving to everyone. That's why his soul disappears from there the next moment and will never come here again. With it, this story concludes here. At the beginning of the third and last story, we witness a girl walking down a narrow street with a roof. She continues forward and notices a flower in front of her, but just as she is ready to pick it, someone else picks it up ahead of her. Seeing this, the girl gets scared because she saw such thing for the first time. It was obviously difficult to believe this. Before she could comprehend anything, a lady hanged upside down arrived, prepared because she was a bride but was a ghost. She holds that girl's head and the girl gets scared and tries to escape from her, but she doesn't leave her and ends her brutally. After it, we see a girl named Mean. She was also a student and was sitting with two of her friends in a building and telling them about the hung ghost of the lady. They don't believe her. After it, Mean calls her brother because he had Mean's laptop and she asks him to bring it. Her brother accepts what his sister said and moves to give her laptop. He also passes by that roof street. The flower, which had been tossed by the bride's spirit to seek him, was also laying in front of him, but he was moving ahead immersed in his own tune and didn't see the flower. He moves forward while leaving that street. On the other side, Min was telling her friends another story when a girl in graduation felt weak in her studies and thinks she couldn't complete her graduation and will fail, so she ended herself before a day of her completion of graduation. Just after that incident, it happened strange every year. A student died a day before her graduation, and that girl's ghost was behind all the deaths. Min's, the student who considered herself weak. On another side, Min's brother mistakenly moves into an empty building where he collides with a pills bottle. He was leaving with the pills bottle but then feels someone's presence he sees, and the door opens and the hand of a lady comes out in front of Min's brother because it was her pills bottle which she was asking back. That lady was also a ghost and didn't leave a person who touches her pills bottle until she got that bottle back. Min's brother doesn't know that the lady is a ghost and was returning the pills bottle, but then a girl's ghost comes in front. She looks weird, and this was the ghost of that graduation girl. Seeing her condition, Min's brother decides to give her pills. Don't know how he lost that pills bottle. At the same time, Min messages him and says, "You reached the wrong building. I am not there, so leave that building soon." Min knows that the building he went, too many ghosts live there. She comes to meet him. Her brother took pity on that girl's soul, so he takes her out with him. Even he doesn't know that she is a ghost, and the ghost disappears from there when Min comes in front because she comes into Min's friend's room. Seeing her, Min's friends get scared and start yelling. Meanwhile, Min arrives and says, "Why are you getting scared?" When they tell her that there is a ghost, she also gets scared and starts yelling, but that girl's ghost disappears from there. Then the lady's ghost comes in front of the room and asks for her pills while calling Min's brother's name. Seeing it, Min understands how to save her and her friends. She calls her brother and asks him to bring pills, but because he has lost them, so he starts finding them. He finds them, but they were laying in the middle of the roof street. Min was asking him again and again to bring pills. Seeing the flower there, her brother understands that there is a ghost in this street, but he moves forward somehow to pick up those pills. Suddenly, the upside-down hanged ghost of the bride comes in front of him, which makes him scared, but then after getting normal, he moves ahead to take the pills, but the ghost holds his hairs as she has long, sharp nails. It seems like she will not let him take the pills from here, but his brother knows that he has to save her sister and has to do something for this. He somehow gets himself released and came with his bike. He wears helmet, so that when he passes by this street and the ghost of bride holds his head, there will be helmet in her hand. Until then I will leave while taking pills. Now he wears the helmet and moves ahead on his bike speedily. Here, the ghost of the bride again comes to hold him, but according to his thinking, she just held his helmet and getting a chance from it. Min's brother takes the pills and leaves from there. He comes and immediately throws the pills towards that lady's ghost. He disappears after taking them. They were happy to see her leaving. Meanwhile, the graduation ghost comes and attacks them. How to handle this ghost? For this, Min's brother uses his mind and says, "Congratulations, your graduation is complete today." Moreover, he says, "Let me take your picture because a lot of students are standing behind you." He just tries to trap her, but his plan works here and the girl's ghost thinks that her graduation is completed today. Now she disappears from there happily. Here ends the third story. Before the video concludes, I'd want to know which story you enjoyed the most. Please share your thoughts in the comments area.